After Christmas dinner, I checked my phone, and froze. My credit card had been charged for every single gift. I looked at my dad. Why? He didn't flinch. We voted. You don't have kids, so you should pay for the ones who do. My hands trembled. Then you'll love what happens next, I said. He laughed, until the next day, when my phone exploded, 56 missed calls. Cousins furious. Mom panicking. Even Dad was begging me to undo it. But back to that dinner. One moment I was eating, and the next I was frozen mid-bite, staring at the alert on my phone under the table. At first, I thought it was a mistake, over $3,000 charged in one go. But then I saw where it all went. Big box stores, toy aisles, online shops. Every gift, every wrapping paper roll, every last toy, they'd used my card to buy all of it. I asked, barely above a whisper, who did this? The room went quiet except for the soft rustle of wrapping paper and some off-key holiday music playing in the background. Dad barely looked up from his wine. We voted, he said flatly, like it was the most logical thing in the world. You don't have kids, he repeated, so we figured you'd pitch in more. It's only fair, right? I just stared at him, trying to process the madness. Mom kept her eyes glued to her plate. My sister casually sipped her wine while her twins ripped into Lego sets, gifts I apparently bought. Cousin Ethan gave me a look that said, yeah, this is wrong, but of course, he didn't speak up. You used my card without asking. I asked, voice low and tight. Just decided since I don't have a family of my own, I'd fund yours. You're always saying you don't mind helping, Mom mumbled, not even looking at me. Helping? I scoffed. Helping means I offer. This was planned behind my back. Don't make such a big deal out of it, Dad waved it off. It's just money. And you've got enough. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely hear anything else. I looked around the table, 12 people, half of whom only text me when they need something. And now they'd all silently agreed I should bankroll their holiday, just because I'm single. You've got to be kidding me, I muttered, pushing my chair back. Sit down, one cousin snapped. Don't ruin the holiday. The kids are happy. Oh, I'm not here to ruin anything, I said as I reached into my pocket for my phone. I'm just ending the performance. Dad narrowed his eyes. What's that supposed to mean? I looked right at him. It means you're about to see what I should have done a long time ago. He chuckled. Like I was bluffing. Like I didn't have the guts. But the next day. He wasn't laughing. That day, my phone blew up, 56 missed calls, cousins yelling, Mom crying, and even Dad, begging me to stop. But by then, I'd already hit send. And I wasn't going back. You don't just wake up one morning and realize your family sees you as a walking ATM, no. That kind of betrayal seeps in slowly, like water damage under the floorboards. You only realize the damage when the whole damn thing collapses. It all started years back, after I finished college. I landed a solid job in tech, nothing flashy, but stable. A decent paycheck, benefits, job security. Meanwhile, my sister got pregnant at 23 and moved back in with our parents. My cousin Travis bailed on grad school and spent the next 7 years figuring things out. My parents just kept saying everyone was going through a rough patch. And me? I was the one who had it together. That was the phrase they loved to use. You're doing fine, you don't need much, Mom would say with this gentle, condescending smile. You've been lucky, she'd add. You should spread that luck around. Tessa, my cousin, once said that right as I handed her a rent check. At first, it was little stuff. School supplies for the kids. A few bucks for gas. Chipping in on a birthday gift I didn't even help pick. But then it snowballed. When my brother Eric lost his job, I covered his rent for 6 months. When Brooke wanted to start her little online business, I paid for her website and stocked her first batch of inventory. She sold 2 things, never brought it up again. When Uncle Martin had a medical scare with no insurance. Guess who paid the hospital bill? Yeah, me. And at first, I didn't complain. I really didn't. I kept telling myself, this is what family does. But here's the truth, real family doesn't hand you a knife and say thanks while you bleed. They bled me dry. And I let them. The worst part? They acted like they were doing me a favor. You get to feel good about helping. Your name's on the group card, that's special. Don't be so uptight. We're family. Never once did anyone say thank you. Not one person. And it wasn't just the money. It was my time. My energy. My attention. I became the go-to babysitter, the emergency contact, the guy everyone leaned on. One Christmas Eve, I had the flu. Miserable, shaking with a fever. I texted my mom to say I couldn't make it. She replied, okay, but can you still send the gifts? The kids are counting on you. I remember sitting there on the bathroom floor, wrapped in a blanket, feverish and shivering, thinking, is that all I am to them? Someone they remember only when there's a price tag involved. But the moment everything finally clicked for me. The moment that really set everything in motion. That happened 3 months before that Christmas dinner. I'd taken my niece to the local bookstore and told her she could pick out anything she wanted. She lit up like it was Christmas already. $1.50 later, she walked out with a bag full of art supplies, a couple of hardcover books, and this massive stuffed sloth she named Mr. Snooze. She was over the moon. And honestly, I felt good too. At least until I dropped her off at home. Where's Mr. Snooze from? My sister asked, eyeing the toy. I smiled. I let her pick it out today. Thought she'd like it. Her expression soured. You're spoiling her. What, just because you've got money, you think that makes you the fun uncle? I just blinked at her. What? She scoffed. Maybe try spending less on toys and more on building a personality. It hit me so hard I almost laughed. I just spent my entire weekend with her kid, time I could have spent relaxing, dating, doing anything else, and instead of a thank you, I got slammed like I was pathetic for trying. That was the moment my mask cracked. Not hers, mine. That's when I finally saw the truth. Takers don't always come dressed like strangers. Sometimes, they show up wearing family ties and fake concern. Masters of guilt-tripping. Experts at pretending they care. The harsh truth. They never respected me. Hell, they barely even liked me. I wasn't family to them, I was a damn credit card with legs. Then came December. Around mid-November, the family group chat started buzzing with Christmas plans. And like clockwork, I was expected to host again. Expected to buy gifts for everyone's kids again. To step into the Santa role, with a spending limit that only applied to my sanity. But this year? I was ready to say no. I swear I was. Then my dad sent me a personal text. You're really good at this kind of thing, he wrote. Why don't you just take care of the gifts again? We'll settle up later. Settle up. They still hadn't settled up from last year. Or the year before that. So I fired back a reply, short and cold, only if we agree ahead of time who's paying. He left me on read. Didn't reply for nearly 3 weeks. I thought maybe, just maybe, they'd finally gotten the message. I was wrong. Instead of respecting my boundaries, they used my backup card. One I'd given my mom years ago just in case of emergencies. Apparently, she still had the number, and worse, she'd shared it. Because when I checked my statement, there were charges from 5 different stores. None of them even in her zip code. She hadn't bought a thing. They had bought everything. And when I brought it up during Christmas dinner, They laughed. They actually laughed. My dad looked me dead in the eye and said, "We voted. You don't have kids, so you should pay for the ones who do." Like it was reasonable. Like this was a democratic decision. Like I didn't have a right to say no. That's when it hit me, they meant it. They actually believed I was put on this earth to lighten their load. Like not having children made me their financial punching bag. As if my time, my money, my peace didn't carry the same weight as theirs. So I stood up from the table. Told them, "You're gonna love what comes next." They didn't even blink. My dad laughed. Because to them, I was bluffing. I always had been. That night, I barely slept. Not because I felt guilty, I wasn't quite there yet. But something was shifting. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, running back every little slight, every unspoken expectation, every time they acted like I was somehow less than just because I didn't have what they had: kids, bills, chaos. Somehow, that made them feel noble. Important. And me? I was just the guy they called when the fridge broke or the tuition bill came in. Expendable. But as the morning light crept across my bedroom, painting the ceiling soft orange, I felt something inside me change. The hesitation drained out of me like poison. And what filled its place wasn't just anger. It was clarity. They wanted to treat this like a vote. Fine. Let's talk democracy. I opened my laptop and started typing. Subject line: holiday contribution changes. Body. Effective immediately, I'm stepping away from all financial responsibilities involving the extended family. That includes Christmas presents, birthday gifts, college tuition help, temporary loan coverage, random Venmo requests for emergencies. No more surprise charges for vet visits, car repairs, or streaming service renewals. If you've already used my cards, expect chargebacks. If you've stored or shared my information without permission, expect legal contact. You voted. I'm voting back. Merry Christmas. The childless one. And then I hit send. To every single name in that group chat. My parents. My sister. All 6 cousins. Even my aunt, who still acts like I owe her for babysitting me that one time when I was 4. After I hit send, I turned off my phone. It took exactly 7 hours and 16 minutes before the dam broke. When I finally powered it back on, it lit up like a grenade had gone off in my hand. 53 missed calls. Dozens of texts. Voicemails packed with tears and shaky voices. Some of my cousins were threatening to sue me, for emotional distress, of all things. My mom had left this dramatic message that started with, "I'm heartbroken," and ended with, "This is beyond disappointing." And my dad? He called 12 times. The last voicemail was just one sentence, tight and desperate: "Please, for the love of God, don't do this." But it was already done. Because while they were busy blowing up my phone, I was already on the line with my bank. The fraud claim. Approved. Over $3,700 in unauthorized charges had been flagged and frozen. The Barbie dream houses. On hold. The Nerf rifles and iPads. Getting returned. And to top it off, I shut down the emergency backup card. So when my cousin Brooke tried to use it later that night to book a hotel room, declined. Twice. The fallout? Absolute chaos. The next day, I got a call from my uncle, one of the few family members who never asked for money, but also never said a word while the others bled me dry. His voice came low, almost guilty. "Your mom's in tears. Says you ruined Christmas." I didn't even flinch. "No," I said. "They ruined it when they turned it into a transaction." "They were overwhelmed," he offered. I cut him off. "No. They felt entitled. Big difference." He went quiet for a second. Then asked, "So, you really going through with the chargebacks?" "Already done." He let out a long sigh. "Well, can't say they didn't have it coming." Click. He hung up. That was the last halfway decent conversation I had for a while. 3 days later came the real storm. I got home from work, stepped onto my porch, and there they were. My mom. My dad. And Amber, my sister, standing there like she just chewed on a lemon soaked in vinegar. "Can we talk?" Mom asked, her voice already trembling. I unlocked the front door and looked at them. "Say what you came to say." "We didn't mean for it to go down like that," she blurted. "We just thought." "What?" I cut in. "That I'd roll over again. Smile through it and say, 'Sure, rob me blind, just pass the eggnog.'" Dad stepped up, trying the peacemaker act. "Son, let's not turn this into a war. We're family." I laughed right in his face. "You declared war the second you used my card without asking and called it a vote. That didn't feel like family. That felt like betrayal." Amber rolled her eyes so hard I thought she'd sprain something. "Oh my God, are you still on about that? It's not like we drained your entire savings." "You mean the car?" I snapped. "The one I paid for last summer because you couldn't drive with a cracked windshield. The one you promised to pay me back for." She scoffed. "You make 6 figures. You'll survive." And right there, I stepped closer, locked eyes, and said, "And that attitude, is why this ends now. You all treat me like I'm nothing but a walking wallet that occasionally brings a casserole to family dinners." Mom's eyes started to fill with tears. "We just wanted the kids to have a good Christmas. So you steal from me?" Dad moved in again. "Enough. This has gone far enough. You need to undo the chargebacks. Now." I stared him down. Didn't say a word. So he tried a different card. "Think about how this looks," he said, his voice getting darker. "What do you want people to say? That you turned on your own family over a few toys?" I didn't blink. "No," I said. "I want them to say I finally grew a spine." And then I dropped the bomb. The one line that made my mom gasp, made Amber lose it, and turned my dad ghost white. "I'm done with all of you. I've already blocked your numbers. And this weekend, I'm moving to another state. Alone." The silence that followed was pure gold. I turned and opened the door. "Now get off my porch." The first 48 hours after that were dead quiet. And honestly, it was heaven. No calls. No manipulative texts. No fake check-ins designed to guilt-trip me into caving. For the first time in years, I could actually breathe. I sat on the floor, drinking coffee, listening to a Spotify playlist, and for once, I wasn't carrying anyone else's problems. Nobody needed me to bail them out. Nobody expected me to show up with a check or a miracle. That feeling. That was peace. But I know my family. They don't go quietly, not when their golden goose walks off the farm. By day 3, the guilt parade started rolling in. Suddenly, the tone shifted from outrage to manipulation. "Maybe we should talk like adults. Your mom's been sick from all this stress, are you happy now? The kids keep asking why Uncle Ghost doesn't call anymore." Yeah. I saw the messages. I didn't bother replying, because deep down, I knew they didn't miss me. They missed the stuff I used to give them. The help. The money. The support. But then, out of nowhere, something happened that I didn't see coming. A message popped up. It was from my cousin, Travis. Just 3 words, "I screwed up." Then another one, "Can we talk?" I didn't respond. But an hour later, there he was, standing right outside my front door. And he looked different. Gone was the usual Travis I remembered, the one who lived in hoodies, dragging around like he hadn't slept in weeks, with sarcasm dripping from every word. This guy. Hair combed. Wearing a blazer. Even had a watch on. He looked like he was trying to play the part of a responsible adult. Maybe even a decent brother. He said, I signed up for some online courses. Marketing stuff. Started working with a buddy. Trying to get my act together, for real this time. I just stood there, quiet. After a long, awkward pause, he said something I didn't expect, I was jealous of you. That's why I acted out. You had your life in order. No kids. No noise. No chaos. And I hated you for it. I tilted my head, skeptical. You here for money? I asked. No, he replied quickly. I came to tell you I'm not living in your shadow anymore. And honestly, for a moment, I almost believed him. He left. And half an hour later, I got an alert from my bank. Someone had just tried to reset my online account. Take a wild guess who it was. Yeah. Travis. He hadn't changed a bit. The whole performance. Just that, a performance. He didn't show up to make things right. He showed up to see if I still fell for their sad little acts. I didn't. I locked down every single password I had. Froze the backup card. Called the bank again to report it. That was the last straw. The final moment anyone in my so-called family ever got close to my life. And you know what came after that? Freedom. I ended my lease. Took a job offer in a new state. Better pay. Found a fresh apartment. No family members within a 400-mile radius. But the best part? It wasn't the job. It wasn't even the new place. It was the message I got from Lauren, Travis's wife. I saw what he did, she wrote. I'm filing for divorce. And thank you. You were the only one who ever actually helped me. That hit me harder than I thought it would. She knew. She had known all along what was really happening. But she stayed quiet. Until now. And all at once, it hit me. Maybe this decision I made wasn't just for me. Maybe by choosing myself, I gave someone else the strength to do the same. Before I left town, I sent one last message in the family group chat. I changed the name of the chat to, "This bank is permanently closed. Try love instead." Then I hit leave chat. As I drove away, my car packed full of boxes, music blasting through the windows, I smiled. I was alone. But for once, that didn't feel like punishment. It felt like freedom. It's strange how quiet your world becomes when you finally cut off the people who never truly listen to you. After I moved, after I changed my number and blocked every one of them, the silence I found. That wasn't loneliness. That was peace. Pure, deep, soul-healing peace. No more texts begging me to cover the rent. No more manipulative concern disguised as checking in. No more calls lighting up my phone from people who only remembered me when bills were due. They were gone. Not just gone, cut off. For the first time in my adult life, I wasn't financially tied to someone else's survival. And for the first time in my adult life, I was surviving on my own terms. I found a new apartment. Nothing flashy. But it was mine. My rules. My pace. My fridge filled with only the food I liked. That first night there, I set my phone to do not disturb. Not because I was expecting a call, but because I finally knew there wouldn't be one. And let me tell you, there's a kind of healing that only silence can bring. Not having to explain yourself. Not having to justify your limits. Not lying awake, asking yourself, am I being too harsh? No. You're not being harsh. You're finally free. They tried to get back in, of course. New numbers. Blocked voicemails. Even some shady burner Instagram account that messaged me, "Come home. We're family. Enough is enough." I laughed out loud. Enough is enough. That's exactly what I said when you all voted to rob me blind and laughed while doing it. That's what I said when my own dad told me I should be doing more just because I didn't have kids. That's what I said when my brother, after all that, still tried to break into my bank account. But now, enough isn't just a phrase. It's a wall. A boundary they'll never cross again. And you know what else? I started therapy. I told my therapist everything. She didn't even flinch. Just gave a small nod and said, "You were taught that love has to be earned through sacrifice." And man, that line stuck with me. Because that's exactly what it was. They made me believe that if I wasn't constantly giving something, I wasn't worth keeping around. That if I wasn't footing the bill, I didn't belong. If I wasn't offering up my time, money, or peace of mind, they didn't even bother pretending to care. That wasn't love, it was manipulation disguised as family. It was never about care. It was always about control. And I got out of it. People ask me all the time now, "Do you regret cutting them off?" Not even for a heartbeat. If anything, I regret not doing it way sooner. I regret every birthday bash I paid for, even though I wasn't invited. I regret all those late-night drives across town just because someone forgot to pay their electric bill and called me in a panic. I regret being the one who always remembered their kids' birthdays while they couldn't even remember mine. I regret ever letting them flip the script, making me believe I was the selfish one. No. I don't even feel a twitch when I think about them now. They made their choice the moment they decided I was more useful than loved. They held their little vote. Well, now I've cast mine. Unanimous decision. Cut them off. And here's the twist they never saw coming. I'm thriving now in ways I never was when I was their emotional ATM and live-in guilt sponge. I got a promotion at work. I've started traveling. I'm seeing someone new, someone who doesn't want a single thing from me except presence and honesty. I've been picking up hobbies again, things I used to love before I traded them in for their approval. Photography's been my thing lately. And I've been learning how to actually cook, like real meals, not just greasy takeout eaten over bills and someone else's rent notice at midnight. I even adopted a dog. Named her Balance. She's calm. Loyal. Never asks for anything but love. And honestly, that's more kindness than I ever got from half my family. Just when I thought the story was over, I got a random text from an unfamiliar number. "He's out. We're getting divorced. I wanted you to know." It was Lauren, Travis's now ex-wife. She finally left him. Looks like my brother's new leaf came with an expiration date. Later, she told me the whole story, how he spiraled after the act wore off. Lost his job. Turned to drinking. Burned through whatever money he had left. She even caught him trying to use my old banking info again, after all of it. "You were the only one who ever saw it clearly," she told me. "I didn't believe you back then. I do now." And that's when it all really hit me. This whole thing wasn't just about cutting toxic people out of my life, it was about refusing to carry the lies they lived by. Sometimes, walking away doesn't just save you, it lights the path for someone else to finally see the truth too. I didn't lose a family. I escaped a scam. So when people ask me what happened with my family, I just smile. And I say, I used to be the guy who paid for Christmas. Now, I'm the guy who saved himself from it. And let me tell you, there's not a gift in the world I'd trade for that kind of freedom.